and welcome to a brand new episode of the Jedi Way here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Very excited to be diving into the world of Star Wars again with these two wonderful people. And we're not covering a show. We're not covering the episode of a series. We're just going to talk about some of the big news that dropped over the last couple of weeks here in the world of Star Wars and give our 2 cents on it all. I am John Rocha, also known as Rocha Fed around these parts, joined as always by my OG co-host there, the great Laura Kelly, co-host of the Force Toast Pod. How are you, Laura?
I'm doing great. This is kind of fun. We were just saying it's kind of fun and different that we don't have like a specific show to talk about. We just get to talk about all kinds of random stuff. The next thing will be what? Andor, I think. I think it's right? April. It's going to be here faster than we know.
Yeah, we're already through January and getting into February. And someone who likes to get through things really quickly, like a haircut, is Kevin Smets there, the smasher himself, the king of KOTOR. How are you, Kevin? How are things?
Good. My hair is looking good, right? Looks like nice and short.
It looks like it all got cut and not part of it. It looks like it all got cut.
Like it does, because if I were to lift my head right now, you wouldn't be able. You know what? For your show, I'll let you guys do it.
For our show, yes. Go ahead. Yes. What are you going to do?
No, I can't do it. I can't. I I wanted to look trim for the show, so. My wife's gonna love this because I'm getting my haircut's planned for tomorrow, everybody. So I trimmed the sides. So if I took it off, I'd look like Friar Tuck probably or something like that.
Awesome.
Or you look like the villain from Rebel Moon. I
haven't seen it yet. I need to see that.
What?
Yeah.
I'm a big Zack Snyder guy too, and I want to,
I don't know if need is the right word, but I suppose if you get around to it, I would say.
We're haircut buddies, Kevin. I'm getting my haircut tomorrow too.
Nice. We'll text.
Are you also getting it? Are you getting it sheared on the side as well, or what's your?
No, that's not the plan. But do you feel left out now, John, that you're not getting a haircut tomorrow, or are you? That would be a surprise.
No, I'm not. I got mine last week, but I do like to get it short when I get it cut, with much to the chagrin of a few people in this house. So I like to have it short and let it grow because my hair grows quick. I have to cut it every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Like I can't cut it every month. My hair grows real fast. When I was in the military, my drill sergeant, because in the military, when you're in the military, they have to walk you to get your hair cut. But you go in basic training, you're supposed to go together as the whole squad to go, or the whole platoon to go get a cut. But because my hair grew so fast, I would have to personally be walked by my drill sergeant every week to the barber to shave it all off all over again. So it's been the bane of my existence in some ways. In other ways, I kind of like it. So
honestly, you're kind of blessed there, John. You got a good head of hair there. I think you just got to live that up.
I agree. My father.
For that story, I'll show you. Ready?
Don't do it.
Right.
Internet's forever. I can't.
Annie, don't show them, Annie. Don't do it, Annie.
I can't do it. I'll show you guys off air. I showed it to you guys off air. You saw it.
We did see
it. We did.
It was good stuff.
If this is live, if someone super chats us $1,000 right now. We're not live. Oh, sorry.
We're not live. No.
Too bad.
That's such a shame. Anyway, all right. Let's get into the stories we're going to get into here on the Jedi Way. A lot of Star Wars stuff that's been happening the last couple of weeks, but we want to start with something that just kind of happened. I guess we would say that in the world of Star Wars, this broke today. You're looking at the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. But apparently there's going to be changes made to this thing at Walt Disney World. It will now be transformed into office space for Imagineers. This is what a Disney World spokesperson confirmed today as we're recording this episode. No further details were provided, but the Walt Disney Imagineering move was first reported by the Wrap, who covered this story. So an interesting decision, as this is something that did not go well for them as a company. But Laura, now they're going to put people, because they have this office space, they're going to put people in this office space with no windows. Your thoughts on all of this, and does this make any sense?
I feel like this is just like rubbing a dog's nose in it. Like, just, imagine being an Imagineer and like what it takes to get to that point in your career at Disney, only to like end up working in like the graveyard of your own failed attraction. Like that just sounds so sad to me. In addition to the no windows things, which is just horrendous to think about. Like maybe they'll build windows. I don't know. It sounds like they're like put this piece of property to use in a different way. It doesn't sound like they're like, we're going to fully renovate it and like bring down some walls and put in some windows. That I don't imagine that is what's happening. Maybe fingers crossed for them, you know?
It's crazy, Kevin, because I mean, the cost of this thing was upwards of $1 billion. And although Disney says that it was much, much lower, I don't know how much I believe the mouse when it comes to things like this, but there was so much that was involved with this. And now I have to imagine there were some people who work in the Imagineering division who are probably chuckling to themselves at the failure of this thing. And now they're going to be stuck inside this thing as office space. What are your thoughts on this? And what do you imagine working in a space like that with no windows?
Incoming rant coming.
Oh, please.
When this first launched, I was so annoyed at the price. They dug their own graves. The pricing of this thing, I priced it out with my wife. It cost less to go to Prague, even with it costs less for us to go to Prague for 10 days than it would be to go and this is because we stay not just staying at hostels, like staying at hotels. We priced it out. It was cheaper to go to Prague for like 7 or 8 days than it would be to go to this Starliner cruise where you're stuck inside a Marriott, basically, that's parked right outside the theme park. And you're trying to get your rest in your cabin, and Chewbacca's knocking on the door saying, hey, you got to come upstairs to the top and play some glorified asteroids game that makes you believe that you're really in space. And there's no windows. It's just a bunch of screensavers from Windows 3.15 with the Starfield. I feel bad for all the people that lost their jobs. It's Disney's fault. They priced it out way too much. They were just like the lawyer from Jurassic Park. Oh, we'll have coupon day or something when they were concerned that the Jurassic Park tickets were too much. Well, the dinosaurs ate all the characters in that, the bad characters, and the dinosaurs came to this, and it's haunted them. And now, they got to go. I feel bad for the Imagineers. They put all the work into it. It's the people that are the people that desire money, and that the corporate heads that are the ones that make those decisions to make it so expensive. But I'm telling you, you could price it out. And that's for me living in Southern California. If you live in the East Coast, a trip to Prague or Spain would be even cheaper. And so you're saying that, but I will say that one of the voiceover actresses on my movies got to go there, and some people go as groups and they role play in character the whole time. And she said it was awesome, like especially with her role playing group. So I'm not going to denounce the people that went there and had fun. I watched the walkthrough of it. You can watch, there's vlogs on it where you could see. But for me, like when I was on a cruise recently, and I told you guys about that, like I felt claustrophobic on that, and I can't imagine we're like there, like you can't go outside, like except some fake atrium that they had that was like I don't know, but I feel bad for the people that lost their jobs. I feel bad when anything fails, you know what I mean?
Especially Star Wars.
But they did it themselves. Why? How are you? I don't know. I mean, if someone could look up those prices, but they were so bad and so shocking. It's like you're pricing out everybody. If you had a family of more than 3, like it would run you like, like $8 or $9 grand or like $7 grand or something. It was ridiculous. So
if I recall, it was something like $4 grand for a couple for 2 nights or something like that.
Crazy.
It was a lot.
Crazy. So and then again, you're trying to get some rest and relaxation, and then a first order officer is gonna try to interrogate my wife. I'm gonna punch him right in the mouth. So other than that, I'm sure it was a great time.
So yes, when it opened in 2022, the Star Cruiser had 100 rooms, and the cheapest 2-night stays were initially priced at about $5,000 per couple, and closer to $6,000 for a family of 4. And you were required to book exactly 2 nights, as the storyline of the Star Cruiser only spans 2 days.
That's ridiculous. I mean, we just priced out for next summer or this summer. We're thinking of possibly trying to sneak in a Europe trip where we go to Europe, London and Paris.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny you say that. I just looked at the note on my phone the other day, and Dacia did a great job of pricing it out, and it was like $5,800 including airfare. Wow. Not including food, obviously, but like just for hotels she found and stuff. Like, so $5,800 to go, to explore culture and stuff. But I'm not denouncing if someone has the money and they want to spend it.
Well, sure.
I just feel bad for all the people. First of all, the people that work there, like they got to know that like no one was coming, and they got such backlash. And then when they cut the prices down, they probably cut it down to like Now it's only $4,000 per couple for 2 nights. Like, that's insane.
Almost. They cut it 30%. So per night you would save $375 or $350, and then but overall you would save $700. So you would go down to $4,300 or $5,300. So when you're at that level, $700 isn't that much of a discount. So it still stayed pretty expensive. It had been booked through mid-May, I guess, President's Day weekend, and that's when the reservations started to kind of tank for this thing. And then some people had speculated that they were going to turn it into like another attraction at the park where people for like you get dinner and sit and watch a show, but they took a tax write-off on this whole thing. Disney did, because of course they did.
Pulled a Batgirl again.
Yeah, and they essentially. Well,
here's my other thing about it too. I have a lot of thoughts. But I wasn't on this show when that had that failure. I don't believe I did. I don't know if I ran into you guys, but like that was the promise of this immersive land. That was the promise. I'm a big theme park guy. That was the promise of Galaxy's Edge. You were supposed to go there and like bounty hunters would give you missions and everybody would be in character, and they still kind of do a good job. And Rocha, you know, when they were trying to make it more like the Wizarding World and like how you've done that. And they had that promise with Galaxy's Edge, and then they all of a sudden were like, well, that's not quite what Galaxy's Edge is going to get you anymore. Now you're going to have to pay if you want to do this fully immersive thing, you know, $4,500 and stuff like that. And now like Galaxy's Edge is fine, but like, you know, there's not like, you know, mini games, and I mean, maybe there still are, but like more normally it's just, you know, you get excited if Kylo Ren's walking around and stuff like that. So a colossal failure. They had a lot of failures, and they had a string of failures there, and that's one of them. Feel bad for the people that worked there. And apparently those that did go said it had a great time. And my friend said that Neil Patrick Harris was there, was in character, but not working for them, like in character as a fan. So take that for what it's worth. It looks like some people enjoyed it, but of course, because he's a millionaire, he could afford it.
Yes, he could.
I would take my hat off right now, but I can't. I look like an idiot.
Say good afternoon. Walt Disney Imagineering will be using the building as a hub for several expansion projects coming to the expansive Walt Disney World Resort, including the Latin American area of Disney's Animal Kingdom. Oh, of course they shoved us over there. That will be home to Encanto and the Indiana Jones themed attractions, the upcoming Cars and Disney Villains theme lands opening at the Magic Kingdom, and the Monsters Inc. land, complete with door chase coaster arriving at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That's what I guess they're using it to store stuff or to try out this stuff before they roll it out into the park to fully put it in motion. So interesting situation. But you know, it only was open from like March to September. That's a phenomenal mistake and a phenomenal failure. But they took a tax write-off, and they've got to fill the place. So why not move people in it? The mouse is certainly not sympathetic to your situation.
If you're interested, you could watch vlogs about it. There are vloggers that have gone and did the whole thing, so you can experience it, you know, and see. And you'll see how some of the stuff was cool. I think their dining area looked pretty cool. It made you feel like you were eating on like overlooking like the planet and stuff like that. That would be really cool. And their drinks were kind of exotic. But some of the other stuff, man, you wake me out of bed to run upstairs, and all of a sudden they're playing, you know, freaking Defender, you know, 1980s graphics. Like there was one of them where I was like, I can't believe if I was up there, I'd be like, what is this? Sorry.
Jenny Nicholson did a 4-hour breakdown. If you guys want to watch it, that got 11.
I was about to bring that up. There was this small YouTuber that did this, 4-hour vlog, basically kind of tearing it down. As
she tore it. She didn't like it.
Yeah. But I think she like went and paid for it and everything herself. I don't know. A couple people that I talked to that went like as part of the sort of promo really loved it, but like they didn't pay for it, and they were like, I don't think I could go back. And like as much as I enjoyed it and I would like to, I couldn't afford to.
Wasn't it like the preview day was only a day too, right? Like they weren't spent.
I don't think it was like the full experience, if I recall. Yeah, that sounds right.
She got 11 million views on that video. So 11 million people had about 4 hours to watch that damn thing.
I feel like this video is going to have 11 million views because we're talking about it.
God, please. Wouldn't that be nice? All right. So there you go.
I take my hat off.
Shutting that situation down. We'll see what happens with hopefully we'll have pictures of it and what it looks like inside now that it's been turned into an office building. But something else that might be shutting down, or maybe going forward, but does feel like it's shutting down, is this Rey movie. Let's talk about this situation. what do you know? We got ourselves a new writer just a few days ago. This was announced that George Nolfi, who is known for his writing work, as you see there, doing his best Stephen Lang imitation. He is known for writing the Bourne Ultimatum and Ocean's 12, certainly not the best installment of the Ocean series, but he has been tapped to write the new Jedi Order film that is supposedly the return of Daisy Ridley as Rey. And of course, we know this comes after Damon Lindelof was moved off the project, and Justin Britt Gibson was moved off the project, and then Stephen Knight, famously of Peaky Blinders fame, was moved off the project. Supposedly, Sharman Obaid-Chinoy is still directing this thing, but Nolfi also wrote The Banker, which Anthony Mackie was the star of on Apple TV Plus, and The Adjustment Bureau, which is quietly one of my favorite Matt Damon films with him and Emily Blunt. So your thoughts here, Kevin, on this one? What are your thoughts, feelings? George Nolfi, was this a nice choice? And by the way, they announced this on a Friday at like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Well, he looks like Dave Foley, dude. That's who I thought that was.
Did you miss that I put the picture up? What's wrong with you? It's right there. What are you
I know, but you even made a joke that he looks like Stephen Lang, but I think he looks more like Dave Foley. I'm just adding to your joke.
Okay, you're plussing my joke. Oh,
that's not the same guy. That's Dave Foley. Does everyone know who Dave Foley is?
Look, this is George Nolfi.
Yes.
I don't know who you're putting up there.
That's Dave Foley. Everybody knows who Dave Foley is.
From News
He's
Radio?
a Canadian actor, stand-up. He was known for Kids in the Hall, and he was in Sky High.
And News Radio. Why are you...
Well, I'm thinking of the Energeekdom shit I had to know.
All right.
This is great. I don't care. Listen, this is going to be a short episode if we're going to be talking about these would-be movies, because this is just... Wow. I'm in a mood.
He's like, I want it to be 11 million, but short as hell. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Hey, short content help. No,
I don't believe in it. Clearly, go ahead. You know what?
I don't think they're going to quit. A lot of people were rumored that like the Ryan Gosling movie is not a Rey movie now. Like I think if we get into that, that's more interesting.
Don't jump. We're going to move to that.
Yeah.
Next.
So, well, because if this is the new writer for the Rey movie, fine. There's probably a new writer for the Ryan Johnson movie and a new writer for the freaking James Mangold movie. Like, I think I can speak for a lot of us where we're really exhausted with these like announcements and departures. And like that one, I think we brought it up one time on an episode where you had a list of everything that like start, stop, and canceled, and how many people have been fired, and did they get fired because they had too many people meddling and too many people, you got freaking Filoni with his cowboy hat leaning over you saying, no, you can't do that. Don't touch that character. Like, so I get it, man. This is I feel bad because I actually like the Rey character. I love her musical theme, and I like Daisy Ridley as an actress. So, but the more and more this happens, when these things happen, I just wish that they just said, hey, we're making a Rey movie, and we didn't hear about it until the first trailer. The more you hear about it, the more shit that goes on behind the scenes. It creates this aura of it's going to be bad, and it's just going to give fuel the haters and also get the people that love it worried. So, yeah. Another rant, two for two.
But that's the problem, though, is that it's not Lucasfilm coming out and saying these things. They're not coming out and announcing like, we have a new writer. Oh, the writer left. We have a new writer. Like, that's not them. These things leak, and this came from the Hollywood Reporter. This particular story. So they come out in the trades, and I don't know if Lucasfilm has control over it or not. Maybe they do to some degree, but I don't know if we can necessarily put it on them. But I'm in the same boat, Kevin. I think this is exhausting. The back and forth and I want to kind of be upset about this because I'm like looking at this guy's IMDb. I've maybe seen one of these movies, two of these movies. This guy has like 8 credits to his name. I'm like, really? Like I'm not saying let's not give people a chance, but good God, is there not like there's no qualified woman anywhere, writer anywhere in the industry that could maybe pick up the mantle and maybe take this to the finish line? Yeah. I don't know. That's the only thing that I'm a little bit annoyed by when I open this up. I'm like, 8? Seriously? Okay.
Dave Foley has more movie credits than this guy.
Well, George Nolfi is known as a script doctor in Hollywood. So
really?
But it's fair to say 8 fully completed projects that he was a part of. That's absolutely fair as a criticism because most people don't know that someone like this is a script doctor. I agree with you, Laura. I agree with you, Kevin. The constant, and I know Jeff and I host the Hot Mic, and Jeff breaks scoops, and you're right. the Hollywood Reporter breaks, Variety breaks, all these people break, are now online. Daniel Rickman, have My Time, they all break stuff, and it's kind of their bread and butter. So yes, is this on Lucasfilm? Probably not, but clearly they are going through writers, and something is not working here. How the hell are Damon Lindelof? You don't go from Damon Lindelof to Stephen Knight to all the way down here to George Nolfi. And no offense to George Nolfi, but he is not a name. He's 56 years old writing a Rey movie, and his work is kind of yes, but no, yes, no. Like it's a spotty track record in terms of his overall finished product. And this doesn't inspire confidence in a Rey movie. And when you announce it at 2:00 on a Friday, that tells me you're just dumping the news because people aren't going to cover it all week and talk about it all week, even though we are covering it a couple weeks later. It's just kind of crazy to me. And I think this is their slow descent until they finally admit that they're not doing this movie. Sharmito Obaid-Chinoy is not directing this movie, or really? God forbid, this becomes a Disney Plus movie or series or something really small, which would be insane. But I just don't know. And I've said this on a couple other shows, so this might get me in trouble here. But I also think that Disney might be rethinking how they're approaching Star Wars now. A certain somebody won the election, and they're seeing that maybe they need to lean more towards a certain point of view, maybe lean towards white males as leads, and maybe not have women as leads, not have people of color as leads. So it's very possible that they're making some sea changes here, but they have to honor the contracts and go through the motions. So we'll see. But Daisy tweeted this out or posted this on her Instagram stories that she was excited about it. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like an exciting choice, though. Am I wrong?
No.
Bless Daisy for being excited about it.
Yeah.
Laura, you go ahead. I don't really have anything else.
Oh, no. I was just saying, no, you're not wrong. But yeah, I know you make a good point. Like, that's nice of her to put on a face for it if that's
Laura, how do you read this? How do you read this as that this film is still going to get done, or do you read this as they're just slowly moving towards letting it go?
I've made the point of I don't think that the Shawn Levy movie is going to get made. Every time I hear something about that, I'm just like, yeah, right. I mean, the James Mangold thing also sounds like a far-fetched idea to me. The fact that we would ever get to the finish line with something like that before Disney ends up pulling the plug on it. It seems really unrealistic. I want to be optimistic about it, but as a Star Wars fan, it's getting really hard to be optimistic about any of this stuff. I'm like, what the hell are you guys even going to talk about at Celebration? Celebration's in 3 months. What is even going to happen there? You announced the Rey movie back at the last one 2 years ago. Are we just going to bring that back up? I'm very curious to see what they end up even talking about.
That's an excellent point. What are you guys just going to kick the ball further through another celebration and get people all hyped up for movies that you're going to eventually put the kibosh on, or how are you going to go forward? So that's a great point, Laura.
It's not a good motivation to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for some people. Yeah. Celebration, the fans get to celebrate with each other. So that's cool for them. But flying all the way out there to Japan and it's Japan.
Yeah. Japan.
Pretty cool to see that area though. That would be cool. I don't think it's going to get canceled. I think they're going to go through with it. I hope they do.
You think they are? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that this is a bad writing on the wall. I don't think they would announce it. Well, I guess it's leaked, right? So the script doctor's going in there, and what does the doctor try to do? To resuscitate something. So maybe it's gonna. Oh man, I have an itch. This is hard to find.
Do it.
One of those nights.
Your hat's telling you to take it off. Yeah.
I feel for Daisy Ridley. I think she wants to. I think a lot of people don't feel she needs to redeem herself, and I don't think. No. But I do know that they kind of dropped the ball with that third movie and how it just all the movies kind of feel disconnected. And I think she wants to give Rey a proper send off. So I hope she gets that chance.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think Sharmito Obaid-Chinoy stays on as the director? I mean. Is she just staying on through all of these writers? Is she just have an open schedule that she waits around? Do you think they're paying her to wait around until they get the right writer and break the story here? What do you guys?
She might not be busy.
I mean, isn't her main thing making documentaries?
Yes.
I don't know what kind of schedule, that kind of thing. And maybe she's got that flexibility kind of built into her life at this point. I don't know, but she seems really committed. I mean, she pops up every once in a while in some radio interview talking about it. So it seems like she's still on board. But I think the one thing that we can pretty much bank on is that Disney is not going to pull the plug on a theatrical release. They need to get Star Wars back in theaters so they can start making some money off of it again. There's been far too much Disney Plus stuff. And bar any pandemic coming up again and having a Black Widow situation where the intention was to put it in theaters and now all of a sudden we have to pivot, I don't see that happening.
Good point. Good point.
You paint a bleak picture. We got another pandemic on the way or what? Shit.
Dude, you watching the news? Jesus. You
gonna
might.
Bird flu.
They're not allowing us to talk about it, apparently. But yes, there is a bird flu going on. But, we digress. Laura, at the risk of risking more of your ire, we've got to talk about this. It is the Ryan Gosling situation here. Yes, Ryan Gosling is, this was reported in a number of the trades here that Shawn Levy apparently was working on a boy band movie that would have reunited Hugh Jackman with Ryan Reynolds and brought on Ryan Gosling to be a part of this thing. So 2 Ryans and a Hugh in one movie. But apparently during the conversations, it turned to Star Wars and Ryan expressed a lot of interest in being a part of this project. And now apparently they are in talks for Ryan Gosling to lead Shawn Levy's Star Wars movie, which Laura thinks might not even happen. So I hesitate to go to Laura, but I want to hear what you think about this. Would you want to see Gosling in this movie if it actually happens? And do you really believe we're not going to get it?
I still am convinced that this movie's got a 50-50 chance of making it. That said, I like Ryan Gosling as an actor. I think the second the Barbie movie came out, Star Wars was on the horn with him being like, can we get you, please? So I have a feeling that's probably what's happening. His career is going really well right now. The only more stereotypical way they could have gone with this is if the news had been Glenn Powell has been in talks to be in a Star Wars movie. I mean, that's the news that we'll be getting 4 months from now, probably. So stay tuned.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, Kevin, what's your thoughts on this?
Yes. Because it's going to get in theaters. Get back to theaters.
That's a good point.
I'm sick of the TV, dude. I'm sick of the TV. I'm sick of hearing about ratings and minutes watched and this and that. And I'm excited for Andor, but let's get back to the theaters. Back to the theaters. Back to the future. Back to the theaters, Marty.
Why am I doing this show if you guys are going to crap on every one of them possible?
Hold on a second. I'm not crapping. First of all, my wife loves Ryan Gosling.
My wife.
He's gonna be, plus, Ryan Gosling was the first man in space because he was the lead in First Man, which is about the first man in space.
That's a good point.
So he's going to be great. He already looks good in a space capsule. It's great. And especially when someone shows the desire to want to be part of it. That's what I like. It's kind of like the Ray Stevenson wanting to do it and people that are volunteering to do it. So, he might be in for the long run. Who's he going to play? I don't know, but I'm excited. Yeah. And again, for me, it's just, he ain't doing no Disney Plus show. Okay.
That's true.
I love Jude Law, but they could get Jude Law to be like, hey, you're going to do TV. But Ryan Gosling, he's going to the theaters. Okay. So we're going to have our popcorn. We're going to dress like Darth Maul. I'm going to have a lightsaber and it's going to be great.
I think that's fair because Jude Law isn't the lead of anything that's going to put butts in seats. That isn't Jude Law, but Ryan Gosling can, even though I know Fall Guy underperformed, but he was a huge part of that Barbie movie. And the Ken song, of course, at the Oscars was killed. And so, he's got that kind of cachet and that kind of resume. And plus, Shawn, I think, likes to work with these guys who are, leading men, but they also don't take themselves too seriously. Although the more stuff that comes out about Ryan Reynolds, it certainly feels like he does. But they know how to play the comedy amidst the serious stuff. So we just saw Jude Law play this roguish character that has some dark elements to him, but there were also moments of humor with him throughout that series. So this could be where Shawn Levy goes with this Star Wars project. It's not quite as serious. There'll be stakes, but you want someone who can play both sides. And there's something about maybe him being a Han Solo type of character with that smirk of his, because nothing matches Ryan Gosling's smirk, for God's sake. So to me, I think there are possibilities that could be fun to explore. But I don't know how much of it is actually going to feel like Star Wars, right? When I think of Shawn Levy, I don't really think Star Wars. So I would be interested to see what they come up with. But let me ask the second part of this is, because there were rumors, as you mentioned, Laura, Kevin mentioned, Daisy Ridley might not even be part of this movie now if they go the Ryan Gosling direction. So that would be one less thing that Daisy Ridley would be a part of. Because there are a lot of rumors that it would be an older Daisy, or the character of Rey would be an older Rey. So what do you guys think? Is this an indication that maybe Daisy Ridley might be moved off this one as well? Laura, any thoughts on that?
Was there a rumor that she was going to be part of this, or was
Yes.
it?
Yes.
I am not remembering any of this at all. Actually, that's so funny. I think because I just wrote it off because I don't think this movie's happening.
You're like,
completely forgot about that. But yeah, I don't know. This is just, I hate to, I don't want to like get Daisy Ridley out of it because Disney wants to move in a different direction and like try and gear their pictures towards like a different audience. Like I hate that idea.
Right.
And to put Ryan Gosling in that position to be the guy that's kind of doing that, even if like it's his face on the movie, you know, I know that it's not his call, but it ends up being sort of his face. Like I hate that idea, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably prefer that they just be two separate projects. Like maybe I think you can refer to her or something. Like it's probably not a bad idea to have a little bit of cross promotion happening if you've got these two movies that actually do end up happening, coming in roughly about the same time period within about a year or two or so. I don't think that would hurt. But yeah, the idea of nixing her in favor of Ryan Gosling is icky to me.
Yeah. She was supposed to be the older Rey who had been training for a while now and training. Like there was rumors about Helen Mirren playing her. It would be like an older Rey. But I don't know how that would work in what they're constructing here with him.
Well, that would take away from the stakes of her character in the movies where she's not old. We know that she gets old. Yeah. She's hanging out with Ryan Gosling, you know?
Right.
I will want to use this time to say that Jude Law was excellent in The Holiday, so I recommend it to him.
He is. I mean, Jude Law in like 2003, if you had made a Star Wars movie, they did make Star Wars movies in 2003. If they had put him in them, that would have gotten butts and seats. Yes. Now I'm not so sure.
Right.
Yeah. But we'll see. Full speed ahead on that movie. I mean, just get moving, get the movies back in, dude. I'm sick of you work with Christian Harloff all the time, Rotta.
Oh,
yes, on Mondays. He used to be a big proponent of get it to TV. I want long TV, and he wanted it out of the theaters. Is he back on board? Does he want it in the theaters again, or is he still happy with all these shows?
Oh no, I think he's done with Star Wars until they make a huge sea change in terms of management. Like I think for him, the regime, and I agree with him for the most part.
Yeah.
The regime that is currently in place, why would you trust them to get anything right? Because when you look at the track record for them, it's not that strong. And so no matter what ideas you come up with for like what could be great as the next Star Wars thing, do you trust them to get it right and put it together and put it out there and get people to fall in love with it? Because I mean, you can't even throw Andor in the mix because that feels like they let Tony Gilroy they left him alone. And he made it very clear, get the fuck away from me. I'm going to do what I want to do with Andor. And it came out the way it came out. And there are a lot of rumors that The Mandalorian season 1 was like that, was that Kathleen didn't really think too much of it. She said, yeah, John, go make it, whatever. It's not going to be a big deal. And it became a massive success for them. So, because they were focused on the movies. And so there's a lot of that going around. And the more I hear about Mandalorian and Grogu, that's just where another element of this, which we'll talk about in a second, is a fascinating part of this as well. So it's more a matter of they need to change the regime more than anything movie or TV wise, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks for answering. I was curious about that. I mean, for me, even with his good quality, like I was worried when they first announced they're going to do TV shows, and this is no disrespect to Star Trek, but like Trek was on TV all the time. You could see it on UPN. It was on every day. And it just took away the magic. So then they would come out in the theaters. You're like, well, I can do that, or I can just watch it on TV. And for me, Star Wars became like that. I want to see the big stories, the big epic stories reserved for the big screen. And I'll talk about that till I'm blue in the face. So, and then again, they have like 50 movies announced. So
yeah, we'll see with that. All right, let's move on to another topic here, real quick. Laura, give me your thoughts on this. Do you think this is Christian Harloff? Speaking of Christian Harloff, he broke news last week that this young lady here, Natalie Portman, would be coming back as Padme Amidala in Ahsoka season 2. Then the next day, Star Wars News Net, who is very good friends with Christian Harloff, shot that rumor down and said that it is not happening. And my brother on the hot mic, Jeff Snyder, said that he wouldn't bet his house on Natalie coming back. So do you think there was some confusion here? Because what Jeff revealed on the hot mic was that Natalie had shot scenes for some scenes with, I think with Hayden or other people for one of the recent series, but then they ended up not using it. I think for the Obi-Wan series, she shot stuff and they didn't use it. Because she was doing the Thor movie. So she was already in-house shooting stuff. So they asked her to shoot some scenes, but then they didn't use it. So what do you believe? Do you sense that this is going to happen or not going to happen? Where are you at on this? And would you want to see it, I guess, is another question.
Yeah, I think I would be interested in seeing it. I mean, my thing with Padme Amidala as a character is that I've just never really been wild about her, to be honest.
Okay.
The most that I've ever enjoyed her, the most that I've ever enjoyed her really was the Timothy Zahn novel. I think it was Thrawn Alliances. Okay. It was the second in his trilogy that came out in like 2017. I loved the character in that, and that was kind of the first time that I was like, oh, okay, this works actually for me. So it would be nice to see her come back and like do something different with the character. I would just be curious to see more. I feel like for a while we were hearing rumors of Ewan potentially showing up in season 2 of Ahsoka too.
Yes.
So,
Christian broke that as well, that Ewan would be coming back, Ariana would be coming in, and Hayden Christensen and Ariana Greenblatt are both coming back, according to him, for season 2 from his sources. Yeah,
which I think makes sense. I mean, having like Clone Wars flashbacks, that was a pretty big hit, I think, for Ahsoka season 1. So to lean into that and do more of it in season 2, I think is kind of a no-brainer. So I think it makes sense. I'd be more curious to see. I mean, it would be great to see Ewan McGregor. I just love him as Obi-Wan. I loved him in the Obi-Wan show, and I would love to see more of him. Natalie Portman, I'm more like curious than excited about the possibility.
Okay. All right. What about you, Kevin? Do you think that would be something you'd be behind, you'd love to see, or is it kind of, has the time passed too?
Yeah, I turned the background to Mustafar orange and red because I feel like I'm being very negative today. But I would welcome it. Not sure about the Padme one, like, because it's not really, it's if we're doing flashbacks again, I'm hoping that they use the flashbacks as a backdoor pilot for a movie, and they finally do a Clone Wars movie, which would be fantastic. And they say, hey, let's see what it would be like to get Hayden and Anakin back, or Hayden and Ewan back. Yeah. And how the de-aging could work, and could we pull off a movie, right? Because then you're going to get my dream movie, the Clone Wars, gritty, like a mission that they go on together where we'll get to see them as like best friends, but test their mental, you know, like a Apocalypse Now in space, man. I've been preaching that to the choir. So maybe they use that as a backdoor. Because, like, again, the only hesitation I have is that, like, she like passes the lesson. There's hope for you yet. So like, no more Force Ghost Anakin, but like if she's getting haunted by flashbacks of the Clone Wars again, and it's only to use to, you know, just get a quick flashback of Obi-Wan and Anakin in there, it just kind of takes away from, I thought she got past that, right?
Good point.
Storyline wise, I hope that they can kind of figure out a way to make that work. This is the same as I would love another Obi-Wan series, but I thought that him and Vader, like, that's it. Like, not whether they pulled that off successfully is for everyone else to judge, but that in story, it's like, okay, they shouldn't, that's it until the Death Star and A New Hope. So, then the Padme one just seems like that. Ahsoka and Padme weren't really that close. I mean, in the cartoon, they interacted every now and then, but like when she leaves the Jedi Order, she basically hints that she knows. When Anakin's like, you have no idea how much I know what you're going through, and she's like, I know. It's like she knows about their hidden love or whatever. So but like, again, how would it tie in to the story at hand and how she's stranded on another planet and stuff like that? And the Skeleton Kid cruise didn't go save her, like my big theory that I thought. So
I mean, I don't think it would. I don't know that it would happen necessarily. I think I'd be surprised. I mean, when Christian broke it, I kind of like the idea of closing the circle. I mean, Hayden's got to close his circle. Ahmed Best got to close his circle. why shouldn't Natalie get to close her circle, who was arguably the most kind of destroyed from the experience that she's spoken about in the prequel trilogy, and that made her doubt that she could do it and become an actress and all of this stuff. So there was a lot she went through, and I think people have grown to really love the Padme Amidala character and dress up as her and what have you. And so I would think it would be great to see it. And you're right, Laura, like those World Within Worlds episodes with Ahsoka and Hayden were fucking awesome. And so it would be kind of fun to see that with her. And remember the end of Tales of the Jedi in that last one, she attends the funeral of Padme and runs off with Bail, but because she doesn't want to be seen. But so there could be a tie-in in that way. They may have been laying the groundwork for the possibility of it all. So, but who knows? We'll see if they
bring
ever
it to a movie. Clone Wars movie, DH Hayden, DH Ewan, get Amidala in there. He can visit her, before they go on a epic mission and just have this epic mission with the two Jedi. Let Filoni help write it because he wrote so much of the Clone Wars. And dude, take all my money.
You know what character from the prequels would be really fun to bring back? Actually, would be Keira Knightley as Sabe. I think that character is still alive potentially. Like she's popped up in the comics, in the canon comics recently, and I haven't read them, so I can't say how they end. But I get the impression that she's still around.
Yeah, like her and not to be too spoilery about it, but if you could see some cool panels where she still looks just exactly like Padme. So Vader sees her and thinks he's seen a ghost at first, and then they team up. Like they have a pretty cool mission, where they go. So it's pretty cool. Like Vader, unlikely allies, like Vader teaming up with. So definitely something to look at.
I like that idea. All right. Well, at the risk of risking Kevin's wrath, we will move on to the Acolyte story here. I've got two very angry co-hosts. I'm trying to navigate here. But yes, Luminate, the data analytics firm that is quickly becoming one of the industry's go-to sources for third-party viewership, reported that they released a breakdown, of what 2024 brought for film and television. Among their conclusions here, they broke down their estimates for the minutes watched on the top 10 Disney Plus originals, listed The Acolyte as the second most watched Disney Plus series last year, at 2.6 billion minutes, below Percy Jackson, which had 3 billion minutes. And Star Wars Newsnet kind of broke this down and offered some more perspective on all of it and compared it to other shows that were on the list here. And you look at something like Landman, which is a Paramount Plus series. And yes, it's an hour long instead of half an hour or 40-minute long episodes like you got in The Acolyte, but they were able to surpass the total of The Acolyte viewed minutes in just the first 4 episodes of their 10-episode series. So this is a bit of a mixed bag here, Kevin, but there were people that were, bringing out the bells again and going, renew season 2. But I think what you got here is that Disney completely fumbled the ball, overpaying for a show like this. And even with the 2.6 billion minutes, there's no real reason to bring it back for a season 2. So what are your reactions to the minutes here? And what are your reactions to people saying they want this should have validated a season 2?
Yeah, I think everybody has a right to want season 2 of a show they love, and I didn't love that show, so they can go ahead and do that. But when you start talking, it's all numbers. All the numbers were down. Agatha all along, right? They're all the low. Agatha and Echo. I have a friend. I had dinner with her. My family had dinner with her the other night. It's her favorite show is Agatha all along, and she unfortunately didn't do that well. And there are a lot of people who are Acolytes, their favorite show, and it just didn't do well. And you're trying to make reasons and excuses to keep it on, but you had Percy Jackson. No offense to that guy. I've never met him. He's probably a cool dude. He fought Medusa, and I loved Medusa in Clash of the Titans, the 80s one. But I swear I'm sober, by the way. I'm watching my kid right now. I know I'm all over the place. But Percy Jackson should not be outdrawing a Star Wars show or movie ever. I'm sorry. No offense, Percy. I'm just saying. It's Star Wars, and that's how much the shine of Star Wars has gone away. There's so much damage on it now. So they got to right the ship. They fucked up when they put Han Solo's movie in the summer instead of the winter. So then it got destroyed by Avengers 3 weeks later. And then they said, let's stop the movies, which caused us to not get the Obi-Wan movie. And then to do the fucking TV series all over the place and have all these TV series is great. More Star Wars. But if you're talking about you stop the movies completely thinking that was wrong because it's your fault for fucking scheduling it in the summer when it owned Christmas. It was dominating Christmas. James Cameron's now owning Christmas. Sorry, he's got Christmas for the next several years. Titanic, by the way, watched that recently again. It was a really good movie. But I just don't understand. This is how far I feel that Star Wars has fallen in a public sense, where you got shows that, like the show that you mentioned, and now Percy Jackson. Like, Percy Jackson should not be out doing nothing. You imagine telling me that in 2012 I was in Costa Rica for my friend's wedding when they broke the news that Star Wars was purchased by Lucas, by Disney, and just all the thoughts of, oh my God, we're going to see Luke, Leia, Han, and like just the excitement of everything. And now you fast forward to, I'm sorry, I'm bad at math, 13 years later or whatever it is. And it's not even beating out like a movie that they had. They used to have those movies in the theaters that like, I don't know. I'm at a loss. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm negative on a lot of things, but I'm just bummed. I'm bummed for Star Wars. And
let's get
when
you back.
People are trying to spin it and then say that Acolyte got canceled, and this is proof that Acolyte got canceled because of the all the political nonsense, which I try to avoid. So I don't want to like talk about it. But I saw some people really saying like, we know the real reason it was canceled. Like, come on, man. And the numbers, money. That's why it was canceled. That's why Star Cruiser canceled too. Like, if it's not making money, if it's not going to get a return on their investment, I'm sorry, it can't continue.
Laura, your thoughts on anything more to add? What you have to say here?
My hat's on still.
Well
I'm shocked. Usually I'm mad and I do this, but I'm
really don't want to show it. I hear you.
Well, I think that this is all really interesting, but one of the things that they're not talking about a lot when we're comparing things like how The Mandalorian had 5.4 billion minutes of viewing in its first season, which was 2019, 2020.
Yep.
Now the Acolyte only had 2.7 billion minutes of viewing total, and that was somehow still like the second best show on Disney Plus. Like, my God.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about the cost of these streaming services having gone up. It's not just the cost of production and how much they're having to pay the people making the show. This is also how much it's costing us as consumers. Like, I think people have just started to write it off. I mean, Disney Plus, when it came out in November 2019, it was $70, I think, for the entire year.
Yes.
It's $160 or $170 now. And I think the price is projected to go up yet again for a year. So I think that at this point, people are probably just like, you have to pick and choose. Yeah. Like, when it comes to these streaming services, you can't have them all the time. And I have a feeling that's probably playing into it, and the fact that there is such a drastic drop in the number of minutes viewed and the number of eyeballs that are getting on these shows. So, I mean, good for the Acolyte for getting what it got. But it sounds like Disney Plus probably in general is not doing great. I mean, like, Agatha, I thought was great. It's also like, I think it might be my second favorite Marvel series that we've ever gotten. Nice. And the fact that also still underperformed. But then you look at something like WandaVision, like 2019, man, Disney Plus hardly cost anything. Like, everybody was watching it because there, number one, wasn't a ton of content on there yet. Yeah. And two, that was, it was the novelty of it, and the price was decent. So Netflix raising its prices constantly, Disney Plus raising them every year. I mean, I canceled my Disney Plus annual finally. I'm like, I will renew it for a month or two when a Star Wars show comes up that I want to watch. I'm not keeping it going for a year. I rarely watch it outside of Star Wars stuff anymore.
There was a deal for Black Friday or whatever. And so I was like, oh, cool. It was like Hulu and Disney Plus for like $1.99 for like 3 months or whatever. And so I was all excited, but then like we had to watch Skeleton Crew for our show, but I didn't realize it came with ads. So like you guys are like watching it for like, and you're done in 40 minutes. And I'm telling you, when it gets to these parts where it's like, the kid's about to get killed, and then all of a sudden it's like tied with bleach, and I'm just like pulling my hair out of my head.
Which is on purpose because they want you to pay for the ad-free version. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, they have this cheap one that makes you want to pay for the ad-free version. So, the quote you should have at the end of this episode from Qui-Gon should be, "Greed can be a powerful ally." At this point,
you're not wrong.
Good point. Good point. So all right, so we'll see what happens with that, and I'm sure it's a nice feather in the cap for those who like the Acolyte, but it really wasn't going to move the needle in any way, shape, or form. And You're right about it. Percy Jackson should not be beating Star Wars, for God's sake.
Can you imagine saying that to someone in like saying that to me when I'm in line for like the special editions in 97? And they're like, oh yeah, one day Star Wars is gonna be nothing. Like people are gonna like that. It's crazy. It's just how far it's fallen. And I believe in the power of that it can people can come together and they can turn it around. And I'm hoping for that. So I'm not dancing on some grave. I mean, I have a channel called Star Wars Squad. I make KOTOR movies. I love talking Star Wars with you guys. So I don't want it to fail. I want it to thrive and succeed. But I think some hard questions and hard conversations have to happen. And like what you and Christian might be alluding at, some big decisions. When a sports team keeps bringing a team out that's failure after failure, eventually the LA Rams had to get rid of John Robinson. I love John Robinson, rest in soul, but you gotta, I'm old school. You gotta move on. I mean, every coach, eventually they wanted to move on from Belichick. So
Laura lives in Chicago. She knows all about having a crappy team out. Friggin' Bears. Kevin, let's move on to this story you want to talk about.
I'm gonna love this story.
Don't kill me, honey. Well, it's been 5 years since Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker was released in the theaters, and the franchise has kept going here through comics and streaming mostly. And Marvel Comics recently announced plans to set its next wave of stories in the post-Return of the Jedi era. And among the titles on the way is Star Wars: Legacy of Vader. The great writer Charles Soule and Luke Ross's series is set between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and follows Kylo Ren as he further explores his connection to his grandfather, Darth Vader. And in the first look at March's Star Wars: Legacy of Vader #2, Kylo Ren is joined by Vanni, Vader's former attendant, whose head is now in a droid body as he explores Tatooine. It's then we learn that Vader seemingly returned to his home planet and at some point took his revenge on Watto by brutally killing poor Watto there in the comics. So Watto is dead, honey. So you got to tell me this, Kevin. Do you like this twist? Does this make any sense at all? And why would Annie still go and kill Watto there? I mean,
I had a blue screen.
I
had a blue screen to say that I liked it because I know they did it in the Legends comic and it was kind of well done. Like they hinted at it. Someone had posted how it was done back then. But now I have to turn it red again because I completely forgot about the main thing. Why did they move Luke Skywalker, let him have the name Skywalker, to Tatooine? It's because Vader would have never wanted to return to that place. It reminded him of his mother and his childhood growing up. Like, he would never want to return. So now you're bringing him back to Tatooine, which means that was a stupid idea. And if he was there in any timeline where Luke would have, I guess this is, we don't know where the timeline is, right? So it's got to be after, if he's in a droid body, it's got to be after Rogue One. So yeah, but like, it's not like during the time, but if he would have come back at any time when Luke was there as a kid, he would have sensed him, which just makes Anakin, or it just makes Yoda and Obi-Wan's plan to hide there stupid. I always didn't understand that. And someone would say, well, Skywalker's like a common name like Smith. So it's like Kevin Smith, you're hiding and you're living in the thing and he'd never want to go back there. And it's a big place, but not only that, he's living like he's living on the homestead that Anakin had once been at. You'd think that Vader would go back and sense it. So the whole purpose of Vader, that he would never want to return. Plus, Sam's got to be murder on all of his like gears and circuits. And stuff
true.
Like that. Yeah. So as well as I do like Charles Soule, and I like anything with Watto, and so it's cool. Yeah, I would go back, I guess, and kill him. I figured that if he's gonna kill younglings, he'd kill him. So, but again, it just takes away. It makes that plan so stupid, and they're lucky that he didn't go back earlier when Luke was there as a kid playing with his toys.
It's hilariously ironic that Vader, who's about to commit all kinds of atrocities, or probably has by the time he goes over there, is killing Watto. Like, oh,
yeah.
But look how you turned out. You're killing billions on planets. What are you killing me for? I don't know. It seems odd. What do you think, Laura? He was killed in Star Wars Visionaries, but it's not canon. But this is apparently supposedly canon. Although when you see the red colors used in Charles Soule's books, comic books, it usually means he's imagining it. It might not be 100% true, but what do you think if it's true that Anakin went back as Vader and killed Watto?
Well, I'm surprised that there's I'm surprised at the very basis of this, because you said that this is set post Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
And that we're doing like a flashback or something, and it's
Wait,
called
it's
Legacy
post
of
Return of
Vader.
the Jedi?
It's first, but it's called Legacy of Vader.
Yes.
I'm like,
it's
they
Kylo
just
Ren.
cannot
Oh, that's
let
right.
this character. I'm like, we
Oh, no.
cannot be without a Vader comic at any point in time, apparently, ever. I feel like there are always Vader comics going, and I don't understand the appeal. Like, they must be selling really well continuously be bringing it back. And to name the comic Legacy of Vader when it's not even really about him, it sounds like. So that is just mind-blowing to me. And as much as I like Charles Soule's writing, I just wish he could move on from Vader, to be honest. So this was all very much a surprise to me that this news came out, because I just didn't know that they were still making Vader comics. But the fact that Watto has sparked this controversy, because the little bit of controversy that I saw on Twitter, which I'm not on much anymore, but the little bit that I saw was that people were mad that, like, Vader was mad at Watto after we saw Anakin in the prequels being like pretty cordial with Vader, and people are like, yeah, but he was a slave owner. Like, you get why he'd be mad, right? Because he was a slave owner. They're like, yeah, but he was nice to his mom and he sold his mom to Lars. I'm like, yeah, but do you hear it? Because I hear it. He was a slave owner, man. I'm like, come on, guy. So that part of the controversy was wild to me. What's happening in canon versus legends versus whatever the hell happened or didn't happen to Watto, I couldn't care less. Who cares? But I just thought that the controversy, it was really funny. I'm like, wow, this is, really, really, this is the essential of how far Twitter has fallen, is that this conversation is happening.
I will defend the Vader comics. I know, not this one, because if there is a lot, I agree with you.
Some of them are good, but it's a lot.
They have been very good. The writing on those is good. If you want to see some excellent panels, when Boba Fett tells Vader that the last name of the kid in the Bush pilot that destroyed the Death Star is Skywalker, and he's so angry at the Emperor for hiding it from him, and everything is like the glass is shattering around him. It's really good. So a lot of those stories are good. I agree. They got to move on. But I get, okay, so now with this new lens on, it's Legacy of Vader, because he wants to finish what he started. And the story, that's the byline about how he's trying to hunt down more Order 66 Jedi. The conversation with that is how many Order 66, the more survivors you have, the less it feels like a purge and more like, a lot of us died, but most of us lived. So
we all
I think
that
would be my another negative about that. But I do like to fill in I do like Kylo Ren. I think that he was kind of handled near the end of that trilogy. So to get, they had a story about how he met the Knights of Ren, which is pretty cool. And so anything with more Kylo's good. And he was obsessed with Vader. And so
clearly,
I think that's an interesting dynamic. But now that you say that, it's like, I think it's probably going to be just a couple panels like of just Watto dying. Like, that's funny. That big uproar. Let him die. It's fine. Like, look, he said "chut chut Watto," and then he was like, "I'd like to know now." He wasn't. He was cordial enough because he was a Jedi and he didn't want to like kill the little guy in front of Padme. He's trying to hook up with Padme, dude. You ain't gonna kill him. Although I don't know, it's not good dating advice to tell any woman that you slaughtered an entire village of women and children. Especially because he made a point to say, and not just the men, but the women and the children. Right. And then that's what made Padme fall in love, because they make out in the arena like 3 days later. So
that's a good point.
I feel like I'm being very negative about all this. I'm excited for the movies.
Just telling the truth, man.
The overall essence of what these stories have a lot of promise, but little nitpicks.
Well, Laura, I go to you on this one real quick, and there's one last one we have to talk about. I know we're almost at an hour, so I'm sorry to keep you guys so long, but let's hit this one. Laura, we're coming to the end of the High Republic here. Charles Soule's Trials of the Jedi is coming. So it's the final book of the Star Wars, the High Republic's third phase here, Trial of the Jedi. So what are your thoughts now as we're on the precipice of the end of this? What's your feeling? Are you excited, but also kind of sad? What are the feelings?
I was going to shout it out before the end of our show, so thank you for anticipating my needs. I really appreciate that.
As a good co-host should do. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, there was a great like little preview that Charles Soule posted on Blue Sky I saw this week of just like the bottom fifth of that cover where he was just like, the cover is coming Tuesday. And I was like, oh, joy. And then I saw it, the full cover on Tuesday. And then I was just sad because that means that the High Republic is ending. And that just makes me so sad. So I don't like to think about it. I don't like to look at it too closely, though it is very pretty and I really like the colors. And I'm really excited to have Charles Soule returning to write a novel in the High Republic. It's really poetic. I think that he kicked off the first adult novel and he gets to end it with the last one too in phase 3. So that works out really well. I'm very excited that it's going to be apparently a very long book. I saw one of the editors talk about the word count, kind of comparing it to some of the recent High Republic books. This one's going to be a long one. So I'm very grateful for that. But very sad that June 17th, 2025 is going to be the last one. It just,
that's it.
It's
like,
such a bummer.
They won't go back to it. They won't like.
I'm sure that they will probably release. It'll probably like what they do with Star Wars novels now, where like every once in a while, like they're just kind of set randomly throughout. The period, you know, every time period that we know of. So I imagine they'll drop one every now and then. I really hope they go back to phase 2 and revisit some of that from the High Republic because there just wasn't a ton of content there. So I'm sure there will be more, but the fact that it's like, well, I think we know how it all concludes. They'll kind of go back and backtrack a little bit, but we'll know how it ends. And that is what's sad to me. And saying goodbye to all these characters that I have come to love over the last 4 years.
And
I am happy for you though that you got. They're gonna see it through.
You're not on your mic there, Kevin. You sound like you're in the echo. So
really, it did undid my. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to deal with the kiddo. Makes me happy for you. You're gonna get to see it end, right? You're gonna get to see it conclude. One of my big irks about how the big failure of the Acolyte is most of Star Wars has done a good job of like at least anything that's been out, even if it wasn't gangbusters, like you had the ending to it. And like there's this hanging thread with the end of Acolyte with like the holding of the hand and like what happens and like where did he come from, which that bothers me. And I hope that they do like a novel to tie it all up or a TV movie or something like that. So I think you get to celebrate. What do they say? Like don't be sad because it's ending, celebrate that you got to have it. Right. So I one of these days, maybe I can, dive into it. Someone made a good point. They're like, I wonder, they had announced like a couple years ago, they did this big timeline and they made a point to be like, there's the Old Republic, the High Republic, and the Age of they had all the names of the eras. Yeah. Someone thinks that their theory is once they wrap up High Republic, they'll be like, cool, let's put the bow on that for now. And they might go in and start doing Old Republic stuff, especially to start getting people in the mindset for the James Mangold movie. So
that could be interesting.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Old Republic gets some play, but one of these days, Laura, you got to do like a cool video where it like recaps like the characters, and I still think Avar Chris looks really cool. So
she is. She's rocking a little bit of like, that's her, and she almost is like. Who
would you cast as her? Kate Blanchett?
No, I don't. I would go younger because the character tends to be depicted on these covers as looking quite a bit older than I sort of imagine. Like they reference the main characters, like at least Elzar and Avar being in like their 30s, and they look quite a bit older in every cover depiction I feel like I've seen. So in this new one in particular, she looks a little bit like Robin Wright, which is sort of interesting and a different take that we haven't really seen before. But everyone that I've seen, I don't remember what the actress's name is now, but there's an actress that was in The Fall of the House of Usher that played the younger version of like Margot or Margaret, whatever the character's name is. Okay. And that would be my fan cast of who would play Avar Chris. She hasn't done much else. But if you saw Fall of the House of Usher.
Maybe Margot Robbie could do it. You said Margot Robbie.
Yeah, that would be another good one. Let's see, Willa Fitzgerald. That was the name of the actress.
Oh yeah, Willa. Yeah. She's a good actress. I've seen her in a number of things.
Well, maybe I hope they don't. I hope they're not afraid, which I certainly think they will be. We know what happens when Batman v Superman tanked, and they're like, let's make everything try to be light and like a Joss Whedon movie, and we saw what happened with Justice League. It's a bummer that the main bummer for me was I remember, and this is because I love my friends and I love when my friends love something. I remember when you talked about, or you saw a scene or you saw the footage, the first time you see Yord they're wearing like the lighter, when they go on the mission, they're back to the traditional browns, right? But that first mission, right, they had like the bright white, like the light from the covers of the books. Yeah. And you were all excited about that. And it was like, this is the beginning. Acolyte's going to do well, and they'll start telling more and more stories in this timeline. And I don't know if they will anymore. So I hope that night, you get a nice, I hope they stick the landing for you and you enjoy that book for sure. Yeah, because then you'll have plenty of time to read.
Oh, God. We knew we were getting
Plagueis, you knew I was going to say it.
You knew he was going to bring it back to Plagueis. You knew it.
Of course.
What was her name again?
Willa Fitzgerald.
All right, so here's the last story, and I echo Kevin's sentiments. I hope it's a great book, Laura. I hope you love it, and it's and especially everyone who loves the High Republic books and been enjoying these books. They've been such a boon for Star Wars, so I hope they come out in a really positive way. And Charles wraps it up well. This is the final story. This is going to be interesting, and I'm going to get Kevin your thoughts on this first.
God.
We've got some new information on what's going to happen and the role that Rotta is going to play in this new Mandalorian and Grogu movie that's going to come. And this is coming to us from Bespin Bulletin. So I want to make sure that we give them credit. I'm proud of myself that I could say Bespin without a facial tick. But
don't worry, I won't tell Peter, dude. It's fine.
Thank you. There's a reason Rotta. I'm reading what they wrote here. There's a reason Rotta is a buff boy, and that's because of what his job. He's being told that Rotta the Hutt is apparently going to be a gladiator in the Mandalorian and Grogu. He will have some scarring on his face, likely from the battles that he's been in. He will have a vibro blade or vibro sword, and he is not the little stinky guy from those older days. And apparently the twin Hutts or the cousin Hutts that were in Book of Boba Fett will be in this as well, and that apparently the Mandalorian will be hired to go after Rotta as well. And before you go, how would Rotta look buff? Well, I mean, do you even lift, bro? I mean, this is Rotta looking a little buff, so or a Hutt looking buff, rather. It may not be Rotta, but Kevin, your thoughts on this? Do you like this idea of him being Gladiator? And is this why Jeremy Allen White took the role? Maybe.
I hope he crushes someone and he says, "Don't call me Punky Muffin." Awesome. Don't call me Stinky. His dad calls him Punky Muffin.
Right.
Yeah, dude, Gladiator, bring it on. I love Gladiator 2. A buff, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy. Like that, dude. News like that brings a smile to my face. I got the blue background on again. So I wanted. You could have said that. I wanted to be positive about this story, to be honest. So you could have said that freaking Meryl Streep was gonna play an old Padme resurrected, and I would have been really excited. No, I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm interesting to see how this is coming together. Are you hearing good things about it? But yeah, if he's a gladiator, and Vibro Sword is a KOTOR weapon, by the way. So that's awesome. That's how they are able to explain how when you're fighting and you're trying to level up and you have lightsabers against like gangsters, they have Vibro Swords, which is like a sword with like a shield basically around it. So yeah, KOTOR shout out.
What about you, Laura? Do you like this? The idea of a buff gladiator Rotta here from Jeremy Allen White? Does it make sense to you?
No, the whole thing sounds made up.
You still don't think it's true? I forgot about that.
I do think it's true. It sounds entertaining, to be honest. So yeah, the buff Hutt stuff is just really funny. It's a funny, different take than what we've seen, and I look forward to seeing how they pull it off. If they pull it off, if it's not made up.
There's going to be some people who are going to get that hashtag Hutt Daddy going. I just know it, and it's
going to do it, bro.
With Jeremy Allen White.
Oh my God, my head! Oh my God!
Did you almost do it?
I did it. Someone might be able to screenshot it. I don't think we have anywhere that people would care, but yeah, my hat came off for a second.
There you go. All right, we'll see. We'll see what happens if it's the truth, as you said, Laura. These are rumors. These are speculation. Certainly, people releasing stuff, but we'll see. But it would be interesting to see, and maybe that's why Jeremy took it, because Jeremy's in fantastic shape right now. And so he's like, all right, I'll play him, but he's got to be a gladiator or something badass. So it would be interesting. And it makes sense he would take it to be a central part of the film. Like, what is his whole role? Because I don't think he'd take it to be a small part in the movie, because his star is on the rise,
But why would he?
What?
That's like Christian Bale, like, oh, I got this new part. I gotta lose like 60 pounds and be like frail. And then he gets to set the first day and they look at him and they're like, why did you get this frail for the machinist or whatever? He's like,
yeah.
why did you get this frail? You're a CGI character. We can just do it all in post. Like, he's gonna show up to set all buff, like I'm ready to be buff. And they're like, you know what Rotta looks like, right? It's a Hutt. You're not even gonna be on camera, So I appreciate him really getting into the role, want to get to the head by being buff,
Christian laughed at me when I said it could be practical effects because they're not fucking doing practical effects.
Way, dude. You're out of your mind. Come on, man. Practical 8-pack. Come on, dude.
Anyway. All right. Well, there you go. That's our show for today. Thank you for hanging out with us. We went a little bit longer than an hour than we usually like to go to, but we hope you enjoyed it. We entertained you. And it was a lot of fun to catch up with these two about the world of Star Wars. Kevin, please, another fun show. Let people know where they can find you and all the projects you got going on.
I have to get to feed him. I fed my kid, but now I got to go clean up. But everything, I was entertained by talking Star Wars with you guys. So, I don't need to promote anything right now. I got to get back. I got to go daddy duty. But, go Star Wars. Kev Smets on Twitter and Blue Sky. Star Wars Squad on YouTube. I'm freaking out a little bit. I had you search it. I thought it would be brilliant. Like people would, search Star Wars Squadrons, but like you can't search Star Wars Squad right now and get my link. Like, because there's too many Star Wars Squadrons. So like I can't get it. So I don't know if I'm going to course correct and get a name change for that going on. But yeah, to something that's a little more unique to where you search it. Because I can't tell you, hey, go to Star Wars Squad, search Star Wars Squad, you'll find me. You'll just get a bunch of Star Wars Squadron fan groups and stuff like that. So
okay.
Other than that, everything's great. Other than that,
okay, good. Laura Kelly, another fun show with you. It's always great to see you, Laura. Please let people know where they can find you, what you got going on, and what platforms you're on now, so they can get Star Wars news from you.
Yeah, always fun talking Star Wars stuff with you guys. I'm pretty much just on Blue Sky these days, so you can find me at shutup-Laura on Blue Sky. My podcast, Force Toast of Star Wars Happy Hour, is turning 6 years old next week, so that's exciting. 6-year anniversary. You can find that show on Blue Sky at Force Toast Pod, same handle on Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, I think I'm done with Twitter. Haven't been active on Instagram for a while, so Blue Sky it is.
Question about that: can we now safely say, if you're off Twitter, that you finally did shut up on Twitter? You're shut up, Laura.
Laura has been shut up.
I did not.
Change your Twitter bio. Yeah,
Laura, shut up. I already did. My bad.
I'll stick around and hang in there for you guys.
So funny. Yeah, good point. That's awesome.
Not that I want you to shut up. I'm just saying it's funny because that should be your last tweet. Your last tweet should be like, you know what? I'm finally gonna shut up, and then have like a picture of a silhouette of you, like Kobe Bryant, like when he's walking away, out.
Oh, that's perfect.
Perfect.
You and the Lakers, you're obsessed. After you can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. I'm on there along with Laura Kelly and Kevin. It's a lot of fun to be on there. It's a much more positive experience. Laura's right about that. As for the channel, please make sure you subscribe down below. Hit that bell button. Leave your comments on all the subjects we talked about in the world of Star Wars. Try to keep them as civil as possible. We'd love to hear from you all. We always love y'all's points of views and speculations and perspectives on all these things. So we appreciate you all taking the time to watch and leave a comment. And of course, you can listen to us as well wherever you download podcasts. We had a lot of fun. And that's it. Laura, what do we have to tell them before we get on out of here?
Remember, greed can be a powerful ally, and your focus determines your reality.
That's great.
That's awesome. Great. Love it. Woo.